Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. So it really is feast or famine in LUNC. There's either absolutely nothing going on or there's absolutely everything going on. And like most of you, I'm deflated as well. I've put my whole livelihood into this blockchain. I've invested everything. I sold my own boats to continue my journey in LUNC. Even when it came down to quitting my businesses that I was running, I did that to be involved in LUNC. And as a result of that, I work a 9 to 5. I don't have any boats and I'm still involved in LUNC and we're still pushing forward. We're still developing. And I think this is all stuff to take into account with currently what's going on. Now, what I'm going to do here is go through this from what we know, and I'm going to work from what we do know. So let's bring up LUNC Dash, the all important LUNC Dash system. Now, the 10x gas fees is what I'm going to be talking about in this video. There's so much more to talk about, but this is just talking about the 10x gas fees. And what I want to explain to everybody is, from what we do know, this is actually really beneficial for the blockchain, but it's just not beneficial in its current form that it's being proposed in and the route that it's trying to take. There's a lot of preparation when it comes down to pushing up the gas fees. So what everybody needs to understand is how beneficial this is to you as a delegate, to you as someone staking your coins and receiving rewards, and even validators, that overall per month, they're going to be getting 18% more rewards. You're going to be getting 18% more rewards. But like I said, this is beneficial for a lot of validators because they don't have projects on chain. They don't have any commitment and they're only bound by their validators. And this is highly beneficial for them. So the people voting yes will probably be people who don't have projects and not heavily invested into the chain and are just bound by their 1, 2, 3, or 4 nodes, so to speak. So when it comes down bite to crunch, we've got really two main contenders left to vote who can really sway this thing: All Nodes and Orion Money. For both of these people, it is highly beneficial for them to vote yes. For Orion, this means they're getting 18% more. They're happy, their delegates are happy, and everybody's happy overall. They have no projects on chain. If I look at All Nodes, I say to myself, from a business perspective, I'm running the endpoints for this blockchain that costs money. It's beneficial for me to say yes to upping the gas fees by 10x, because that way I'm getting more back for what I'm putting in, so to speak. So once again, they're getting 18% more, their delegates are getting 18% more. Everybody's happy because they don't have any projects on chain that are affected. So when we go in and we look at this, like I said, we see a lot of validators that have absolutely no commitment to the blockchain whatsoever. And those who do have commitments to the blockchain are voting no. Obviously, from me, this is definitely going to be a no vote, because this means that more or less all projects on this blockchain, anything that works off of a smart contract, anybody who deals with smart contracts in general, all NFT projects, auto compounding modules, everything and anything will go into stasis and everybody will have to readjust everything. Now, systems like the auto compounding module, which a lot of validators use free of charge, they have to pay the fees that are built up from the transactions that are generated from you who decide to use that auto compounding module through them. That's going to go up 10x. For me, my monthly cost is around 1 million LUNC to run auto compounding. If you 10x that, that's going up to around 10 million LUNC per month to run a simple auto compounding module. So you can see where we start to run into a lot of issues here. Miato have already put out a statement saying more or less they're going to have to reconfigure things, they're going to have a think, and they're going to have to go into stasis mode. And this is the same for my own project, and this is going to be the same more or less for a lot of projects, because this chain is built on low fees. Changing a system like this, which heavily affects everything across the board, is detrimental to the system in hand, because although you'll 10x the gas fees, you'll probably cut the transactions 14x down. And it would be really bad, because a lot of the transactions are actually contributed by smart contracts, projects, marketplaces, auto compounding modules, which provide consistent and constant transactions. And that's what LUNC Penguins does as well. So this isn't just like a we, a me, or a you thing. This is everybody across the board that has a project is actually going to be affected by this. Now, in essence, this really does boil down to greed. Once again, working from what we do know. This all bottles down to greed, and what has led to this situation is the centralization of voting power, people double noding, people abusing the dynamic commission system that was put in place, and even service providers like Allnodes allowing customers to run double nodes on the blockchain. And this has all led us into the position where these greedy validators can actually get stuff like this passed, and they don't care about all of the projects, all of those that are voting yes. They don't care about the projects on chain. This is as good as just giving a big kick to all of the projects to just leave the blockchain, because everything becomes unworkable. Everything becomes far too expensive to run. And although the greed will give you more, in the long run, it's going to be very detrimental to this blockchain. So what I would say is, once again, working from what we do know is we can develop whitelists. We've done this previously with Binance, with the burning situation that fell upon this blockchain, and it can actually be done with these gas fees. And what you would need to do is introduce a flat gas fee whitelisting system that projects could get whitelisted into, as to which there's just that flat gas fee. And stability is everything for a person, an entity, or a group that are developing on a blockchain. They need that stability to always be there. Consistent change is very bad for any project. It costs a lot of time to do more or less small amounts of work as you chop and change things. Now, like I said, what should happen is a whitelist should be and have been developed before this has even been put up. And it's kind of a sneaky entry because of the time we're in, everything that's going on with the attack. This is being used and utilized, I think, kind of like a psyop. So you're being made to think that this would prevent continual attacks in the future, and it won't. It really won't. The fees will still be relatively cheap, but for smart contract owners and project owners, we make thousands upon thousands of transactions sometimes in a day, and each transaction we have to pay the tax on. So you can understand why this becomes very unworkable. But for the person who's going to be attacking the chain, it doesn't really change anything for them. It really doesn't. So it's a very interesting time to be part of the LUNC community. And like I said at the beginning of the video, there's so many people who are very deflated with the current situation, and it can all change. We are always building. We're always going to be building, and we're even trying to look outwards and sort of say to ourselves, we've got all of these meme coins launching. Let's figure out how we can best accommodate them and make them in a friendly, user-based environment where they can thrive. People can see what's going on, and hey, maybe eventually, right, we could start to introduce a system where the meme coin owners can actually contact us and give us all of the APIs so we can start to call their information, and we could have a CW20 dash. I'm just placeholding it and kind of giving it a name, but you could have all of these metrics, right, for all of these other sort of little meme coins. So you could have a very good home base here. And once again, developing this and the wallet infrastructure system for this blockchain moving forward. And it goes to show, like, we're here, and the raising of the 10x gas fees, it's really sad for me to see it, right? But nothing is a failure. Nothing is a hurdle here. We've always, over the course of 2 years, figured things out, and we've managed to move forward and get over any of these hurdles. And we were in this position when we first started validating the blockchain. We had those 66 validators, and we managed to get the voting power from the greedy validators all over to these community-based validators, and we had say, we had sway, and things were going in a good direction. And the sad thing is, right, we introduced the DCM and the price went nuts. I think it went up by like 400%. And as soon as people began to abuse the system, go around the DCM, go over and under the DCM, it just introduces and fosters in an environment where greed begins to control the chain. And because none of these people are getting status checked, which is really important, I think, and you're, in essence, because you're not punishing the behavior, you're enforcing it, you're backing it up, and those who are doing it think to themselves, well, I can continue to do this. And the people who are network noding, right? I know this to be something that is true, is that one of the validators is used to pay for advertising, but that validator is supposed to be community led, community run, but it's paid for very specific advertising. So I just don't understand how you can do that. So when it comes down to this Agora that's just been put up, it doesn't cover enough bases, in my opinion. And I've not always seen eye to eye with this LUNC Rocket person, but I have to agree with what he's brought forward. Like, this is what we've been talking about for a long time. And I was waiting for someone like this to bring it forward. I'm going to put a comment in on this. I'm going to put my say in on this. Not that I talk much on Commonwealth, but I think this is really important. And the current situation we're in, where all of these greedy validators in essence are giving the boot to all of the projects and putting us all in a very sticky situation just before the halving event, when we've all committed to this blockchain in one way, shape or form, right? Is that this is all rooted through the voting power. They're able to do this because they have so much voting power. And it's becoming a big issue. So although, right, there's people that are voting no for it, they're actually part of the problem. This has happened because there's so much power and we're so centralized. And the sad part is the Nakamoto index moving from 4 to 5. It's not real, it's fake, because it was just one delegate on one node that unstaked some self-stake. So nothing actually changed. So they've hit the nail on the head here, but they don't go in deep enough to the all nodes and PFC dilemma, because when you start to say no double noding, no network noding, you really need to hit at them. They need to understand that, yes, you're part of the problem, but you can also be part of the solution, so to speak. So although, right, they themselves run network nodes, they can actually prevent a customer coming in and going, well, I've got enough that I can just run 2 nodes now and we can keep consuming, we can keep self-staking, and we can begin to centralize and control more. Like I said, they're part of the problem, but they can prevent that. If a rule gets in place and they agree to it and it goes through, they would then have to abide by a rule on their infrastructure that on LUNC, any one of their customers would only be able to run one validator, period. And because you have to cough up all of your information to all nodes, they would know, unless you're getting, and it would be a total ball ache for someone to go around it, to get fake IDs, get somebody else involved, which they probably have to pay them, and all of the taxes are going to be in their name, and it becomes very complicated. So the more complex you make it for these validators, the better. And the question he asks in this at the end, is there any validators that he's missing? And I would just say there's probably loads. There's probably quite a few different people who are doing it in the shadows. And although we can't see them doing it, we can see people like Jill doing it. We can see people like Terra Vita doing it. And it's all leading to this centralized situation where greed will control this chain so much that they'll 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 put us in a position where they've just consumed everything, and overall we'll all have nothing. Whereas if everybody just started to abide by the rules, be more gentlemanly, have a little bit of chivalry and respect for the chain, for validators around them, even if you don't like them, right? Don't go around double noding and centralizing the blockchain, making this situation 1,000 times worse than it needs to be, right? It's something that only they can change. Right. And if you're staking with validators like this, you really need to go and rethink your position as to how this really does affect Miata, anyone, Garada, anybody who's got anything on chain, even meme coins are going to be affected. The gas is going to go up. Everything's going to go up. And we've not had any time to prepare for this. We've not been offered any solutions, any alternatives, something that keeps us all here instead of putting us into stasis, because that's what I'm kind of calling it at the moment. So yeah, I would say it's very interesting, but it's not, because of the benefits. Like I was saying, working from what we do know at the beginning of the video, there's a lot of benefits to all of these validators voting yes if you don't have a project. And what I want to say is, here at the end of the video, if this is done correctly, I would support it. As long as there's some kind of whitelist in place that gives us a flat gas fee for projects so we can all continue building, developing and launching our stuff on this chain. That's what needs to happen, because from byte to crunch, if you do it correctly, you wouldn't risk increasing the gas fees by 10x to reduce the transactions by 14x overall each month. You really need to think about all sides of everything when it comes down to stuff like this. So I think it's going to be really interesting. Like I said, it will be tight. If Orion votes yes and All Nodes votes no and I vote no, it's still going to be very tight. And this is why a lot of projects are putting out announcements. And what I want to say to everybody is, if we all concede to the idea that we need to respect the DCM that's in place and do the right thing, we'll all start to benefit. Everybody will start to benefit more, and we can start to raise the 10x fees, and we can start to do all of these other things, because overall you guys are going to get 18% more. Myself as a validator, I get 18% more if this passes. My delegates get 18% more if it passes. But this is all at detriment to all of the projects, all of the NFT marketplaces, all of the smart contracts, everything on chain. And it's time, place, and placement, and it's really poor. And what I know, and working from what I do know, is they're merely doing this because they want more. For them, that 18% is huge. It's huge. If they're getting 100 million LUNC a month, right, they're getting 18 million LUNC more than they were, on top of 18% more. It gets crazy, and then it really goes to show just how greedy these people are getting. So if we don't get some kind of rule in place, if everybody doesn't work together to stem this root cause issue, then the chain's only going to keep going in the direction it is going in. But once again, this can all be stopped. It can all be reversed, and we can go back to being a very bullish blockchain that works together. So let me know what you guys think. Drop a comment, drop a like, hit the notifications bell if you can, subscribe if you haven't already. It's really going to help me out. It's not an easy time for someone like me who's just thrown it all into this blockchain when nobody else would support it, at detriment to my own life and everything else. And more importantly, I want to shout out all of the different projects. I want to shout out all of the marketplaces. I want to shout out to everybody who's risked everything to be an LUNC. And I want to throw an even bigger shout out to everybody who's still here, watching the videos, coming in, engaging, dropping comments, dropping likes. I really appreciate it. Other than that, guys, stay safe, stay humble, stay aware. And as always, I'll catch you in the next one.